Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a really cool story. It's all about how music went from this quiet, personal thing into a powerful chorus that honestly became one of the foundations of the early Christian faith. Let's get into it. You know that sound? It fills up these massive cathedrals and tiny chapels all over the world. But have you ever stopped to think about where that powerful tradition of church music actually began? That's the big question we're going to unpack today. And this right here is the most important thing to get. For those first Christians, music wasn't just some nice add-on, a little decoration for the service. No way. It was absolutely essential, woven right into the fabric of how they worshiped and lived as a community. Okay, so to really understand how this all grew, we have to go way back to the very beginning, the seed, if you will. We're talking about the small, intimate gatherings of the earliest believers. So picture this. Early Christian worship was incredibly simple, humble even. In these small meetings, people came together for prayer and for teaching. But the book of Acts tells us something else, something crucial. They were united by singing. It wasn't an extra performance piece, it was a natural, central way they built their community and showed what they believed together. But here's the thing. This new musical tradition didn't just pop up out of thin air. Not at all. It had these deep, historic roots that connected it directly to the past. And you can see that connection so clearly when you put them side by side. The early Christians didn't start from scratch. They took the Psalms of King David, an absolute pillar of Jewish worship, and adopted them. The whole purpose of the music was the same, to connect with God, to express your faith. They even used similar instruments like the lyre and the flute. It was more of an evolution than a revolution. So, as the Christian faith started to grow and find its own identity, its soundtrack evolved too. Believers began to develop their own unique voice, writing new hymns and embracing this powerful practice called chanting, which was, and I mean this, a total game changer for worship. So what exactly is chant? It sounds kind of complex, but the idea is actually beautifully simple. It's a form of singing where you repeat a single melody or phrase. And the goal? To create this incredible, unified, almost meditative sound that everyone, and I mean everyone, could be a part of. The power of chant was about so much more than just sounding nice. It was an incredibly practical tool for building a community. Think about it. It allowed huge groups of people to sing together, in unison, turning worship into this amazing communal celebration. And get this, it was also a teaching tool. It could take a really complex theological idea, like the Trinity, and by setting it to a simple, repeating phrase, it made that concept unforgettable. It literally got stuck in your head. Now, this whole evolution from just simple singing to this powerful tool of chanting, that didn't happen by accident. Oh no. This tradition was intentionally shaped and cultivated by some key figures in the early church, the big thinkers and composers who saw music's incredible potential. First up, we have one of the most influential thinkers in all of Western Christianity, St. Augustine. He wasn't a composer himself, but he was the great theologian who really explained the why music was so central to worship. This quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? It really gets to the heart of what Augustine believed. He wrote a lot about this in his work De Doctrina Ecclesia, arguing that music elevates prayer, that it turns it into something more profound. For him, singing wasn't just speaking words to God, it was an expression of devotion that came from your entire soul. So if Augustine was the why guy, next we have the how guy, the practical architect of Christian music, a leader who didn't just think about music but was actively out there creating it, St. Ambrose. Ambrose was a true innovator. He actually composed hymns, like the famous Martyrdom of St. Agatha, that have endured for centuries. He was a huge champion for the idea that worship should be beautiful and harmonious, and he really established this strong, lasting tradition of musical expression that shaped the church for good. So when you put all of these pieces together, the simple gatherings, the ancient roots, the guidance of these early leaders, you start to see the foundation being built, the foundation for a legacy that has lasted for thousands of years. And there you have it, the whole journey. It all started so small, in those humble gatherings. It drew from these deep Jewish roots, and then it blossomed with its own unique Christian hymns and chant. And from there, it just grew into the enduring, global legacy that we still see and hear today. So here's the ultimate takeaway.
From those first ancient psalms whispered in a small room to the massive sound of today's global choirs, the seeds planted 2,000 years ago have truly grown into a vast, diverse forest of musical traditions that continue to shape faith and culture all around the world.
And that brings us to a final thought, something for you to consider. We've seen just how vital communal music was for these early believers. So, what role does it play in your life today? In those moments of celebration, community, or even just quiet reflection? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.